All right, with that update on the ground, you'll get more updates, of course, over the course of the day as they inaugurate that transshipment port, history being made. And I think we'll all have to practice saying Virinium several times so that we get it right when we have to say it more often. But an easier thing to say, an easier name to pronounce is Tata Consultancy Services, and that I'm quite sure is going to be said several times today. Sajid is joining me to kind of break things down further. Of course, you've already gotten a semblance of what the numbers were all about, and it was, if you can call it status quo, we're pushing the bucket down of a little further down the line when we're talking about recovery, Sajid.
I'm not going to talk about the key numbers of TCS,
yeah,
because
they've
already spoken about it. But what's the takeaway? It's what you said is pushing the bucket down.
Yeah.
The street was expecting this to be a bottoming out of IT sector. The commentary and the confidence which was coming through was that it will take at least 2 more quarters. So we are looking at Q4 of FY25 before IT actually recovers. Yeah. There are too many things, variables playing out, political scenarios playing out in Europe, because you have 2 new governments coming in there. You have US elections which are coming in there politics-wise. There's a shift in the revenue
mix,
not mix actually, profile. So IT companies were mainly targeting transformational deal, big, large deals,
yes,
and our discretionary deals were part of that. That those were the cream on the cake. The discretionary deals have come down in the last 4 to 6 quarters. Now, what we are seeing is smaller deals are also coming down because they are going back to the drawing board. Now,
and they're saying hold off on the final signature.
Final signature, because they now want to look at what AI may be able to do for that deal, or whether, because AI is not going to be a big, large deal as the street is trying to put it through.
It's not yet.
It may not be for next few years.
Sure.
And that's what the commentary is coming in. I mean, it will be small deals which will be on experimental basis, part of office suits or transformation deal, but it's not going to be you never will see a big transformational AI deal coming through in the next couple of quarters, couple of years. Okay. Basically, that's what it is there. The second thing which is there is on the TCV. That gives you a good amount. In FY24, the total TCV was $42.7 million. They had a revenue of $29 odd billion. So we were looking at 1.4 book to bill ratio. Now that has come down to 1.1 there. And even if you look at the guidance which TCS is giving, 7 to 9 billion, and we are looking at from $29 billion to a 7% growth dollar, and so we are looking at a $31 billion kind of revenue for FY25. We are looking at the book to bill of 1.15. So
which is much lower.
Which is much lower than FY24. And while TCS is saying that TCV is not a lead indicator of revenues, but that's also a lead indicator of orders which are going to come in. So that is going to be a question not only for TCS but also for the IT industry. So the reason that's the reason why we are at a place that it will take at least 2 to 3 more quarters for us to reach.
So the number of calls that you're getting is because you have to head for the TCS conversation that is later this morning. Do watch out for that. It's at 10 o'clock this morning, and you'll find it right here on NDTV Profit. The operative point, Sajid, and it comes to pricing, and it comes to what the share price is doing right now. It comes to what brokerages are also saying. Do you buy right now or do you not? A lot of them are still saying buy, but some very big voices are saying you should not. In fact, you should sell.
Trading at 26 times forward PE, forward earnings, it's still considered to be a little expensive. And it's, Infi may be cheaper than that in terms of valuation. But, if you look at a 3 quarter ahead and you want to bet for FY26-27, it may be a good opportunity at this point in time rather than then. But my point is very simple. Your call has to be long term, because we have been talking about this IT slowdown for the last 4 to 6 quarters. We don't know even after 3 quarters is going to happen or not, because you have North America, BFSI, which constitutes revenues of more than 50% for most of the top IT tier companies, and that's going to be a big, if whether we are going to go back to 7 to 10% growth on those.
The last question, what's a blue sky scenario if we're talking about pushing the recovery down to Q4? do the floodgates open then? Because we're talking about a lot of companies, as you've pointed out, because it's uncertain, because the political environment is what it is, are holding off on that final signature. Does not mean that what they need is going out of the window. They're pushing it down. So if the floodgates do open up once there's a new administration, perhaps in the fourth quarter, will there be a dramatic increase in deal winning and revenue growth?
So assume that if Biden comes back, they may be, but if Trump comes back, everything goes back on the drawing board, right? So you need to look at from that perspective how Trump has been saying that it has to be in US.
Yes.
Right.
Protectionism
which is coming in. So there is going to be a big if between Biden versus Trump, or if Biden is not there, who's the other person who has a similar policy?
Closing comments.
Closing comments is very simple. The levers to guide IT companies, which is employee addition or attrition or TCVs, are now getting blurred. It's very difficult for not only companies but also for the street to look ahead. What is very clear is that next 2 quarters, there is nothing going to happen much. It could be a consolidation phase. It's going to be a cautious outlook for all of them. They may grow between 5 to 7%, the top companies. The mid-cap companies may grow between mid-teens. So, the street would be looking at those kind of players going forward.
Sure. All right. And I do want to, so that brings us to the end of this editor's cut, and hopefully we've given you a little perspective. Of course, for more perspective, you should watch that interview that I spoke about just a short while back with the management of Tata Consultancy Services. Sajith has gotten multiple calls. He's heading out right now to meet them, and you will catch that live right here on NDTV Profit.